Hey friends, Jessica here. Welcome back to my channel. And today we are talking about binge eating disorder, which, did you even know that that was a thing? But I honestly didn't know that that was considered an eating disorder until a few years ago. And so a few years ago, I was actually watching a YouTube video and I was like, what? This is a thing? I've been dealing with this my whole life and I didn't know that it was a thing that other people deal with, or that it had a name and all of that other stuff, which hindsight it makes sense, but I don't know, I just didn't think about it that way. So I do have binge eating disorder, which, if you don't know what that is, it's just where you eat large quantities of food, like more food than a person would normally consume within a certain time frame. So maybe it's 2 hours and you eat, 3 times what someone would normally eat in that time frame. Like I said, when I figured it out, I realized I've been dealing with it forever. When I was in high school, I did go through a period of time where I was bulimic, which there's not very many people I have told about that. It wasn't a long period of time, maybe a year. At first it was every day, and then after the first few months it would be like maybe once a week, then down to like once a month, and where I didn't do it at all. But in my mind, since I wasn't purging anymore, then to me that meant that I was fixed, but I was still doing the binging part. And so I guess that's why it didn't register in my mind that it was an eating disorder. It's so funny how teenagers are so insecure. I weighed like, I was getting close to 200 pounds. And I just was like, I refused to get over that mark. And that's part of what started it. Also, we had just gone on a trip with my choir to New York, and remember there was this one picture, and I was kind of leaned over, and if I can find it, I will put it in here. But I saw that, and I was just so disgusted with myself. And now when I look at that picture, I'm like, dang, I wish I could be that size again. So it's just funny how everything is so dramatic when you're a teenager. And I'm sorry, I'm nervous about making this video, and that's why I'm fiddling with my hands. That was the bulimia part of my life. As I started thinking about it after I realized that binge eating disorder is a real thing and I've had it for a long time, it started before that. So I have, like I said, been binge eating for as long as I can remember. If I could pinpoint exactly when it started, I would think probably 5th grade. 5th grade was a lot of changes in my life, and that's when I was alone more. And like when I got home from school, I would eat a lot, or at night I would stay up late and eat a lot. And my mom called it my night eating. If you just wouldn't night eat so much, you would probably lose a lot of weight. My mom is amazing, by the way, so I'm not bashing her in any way. She was concerned for me. Part of this eating disorder is the secrecy of it all. When I got into high school, so I would say it started in middle school. When I got home and was by myself, I would just eat whatever I could find. And then in high school, I went through that bulimic period, and that was when I was 15. And after that, I just got to where I just wouldn't eat all day. And I literally wouldn't even take money. Like, my mom would give me money and I would hide it. Like, I wouldn't take money to school with me so that I couldn't buy any lunch. And so I would just not eat all day. And then I would eat dinner and I would eat like whatever I wanted, because it was just that frantic feeling of being able to eat a whole bunch at one time that was satisfying for me, that would like make me, I don't know, feel better. And so I was like, if I just don't eat all day, then it's not as many calories, because either way I was going to eat all that food at night. So I would just not eat all day. And that is part of why now I veer away from OMAD, 1 meal a day. I know that's a big thing in the keto community right now, is fasting, doing like a 20-hour fast and then eating within a 4-hour time frame. But it just kind of takes me back to that period in my life when I was really, really struggling with my eating disorder. And so I don't know if I'll ever be ready to do it, but I'm definitely not ready to do it now. So there really are two different types of binges that I've experienced. One is like just this frantic, like I've got to have food right now, and I'll go get a massive amount of food. Like I'll go to Taco Bell and get like 3 tacos and a Mexican pizza, and like get like 2 or 3 meals that people would eat, and I just eat all of it. And it's like really fast, and it's almost like you're not even in control when it's happening. So that's what I call a frantic binge, like that must have food now. And then there are planned binges where it's like, all right, when I get out of here, I'm going to stop at the store and I'm going to get this, 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 and this, and I'm going to eat it all. That is a planned binge. And sometimes it's just like I'm stressed and that's going to make me feel better. Sometimes it's I'm going to be alone and I have the opportunity to do that. And I can't explain it. It's almost like your brain is fighting with each other. You know, like it's like, Jessica, you don't need to do that. And then it's like, but you're going to do it. Yeah, I know you don't need to, but you're going to because you want to and you have the opportunity, so it's going to happen. And there is a secrecy aspect to it that makes it like more thrilling, like you're being bad, like you're committing a crime, you're getting away with something. Definitely a secrecy is a huge part. Like getting up in the middle of the night and sneaking food was part of what it made it so exhilarating. The fact that I'm going to be alone, or I'm going to lie, or even sometimes it was like, how can I manipulate the situation? I'm going to eat before I go over there and then tell them I haven't eaten all day so that I can eat 2 meals. That was sometimes part of the planned binging. And thinking back, I said I think it started in middle school. That's when I can think of like the secrecy of it. But even when I was a little kid, I can remember being at restaurants when I was like 7 and not wanting to order off the kids menu because I was afraid it wasn't gonna be enough food. And so I was never that kid who didn't eat. Like I always ate a lot. And so I don't know if it's something that started when I was even younger, or you know, just the mental, because eating disorders are a mental disorder. So it could be something that I was born this way, or maybe something happened when I was really young and triggered it. I don't know. I've never been to therapy about it. It's not as prevalent in my life anymore, which is odd because I continued gaining weight. But once I got pregnant with Nash, you know, those everything that you go through when you're pregnant, like I had no urge at all to binge eat when I was pregnant. And then after I had him, I had a lot of complications where basically I was scared to eat, which I will talk about in another video. When I started eating again, there would be a few times, but even now I don't find myself inclined to do it. It was like an everyday thing, but I don't find myself inclined to do that anymore. The only time I ever feel the urge to binge is when I'm in a really stressful situation. Sometimes when I'm out of town and I'm missing my family and I'm tired of being in a hotel and I've had a bad day. Those are times where I'm more inclined to have a binge. But other than that, it's definitely not an everyday occurrence, not an every week occurrence. So I don't know what it is. Maybe having my family, maybe having a baby filled whatever void I was trying to fill with food. I don't know what it is. But I just don't have the urge that often. Keto has helped a lot with that too, because like I was saying earlier, part of the thrill, part of the exhilaration of it was you were being bad. Well, now all of those foods that were bad aren't bad anymore. Okay, it's not bad for me to eat cheese. I can eat cheese if I want cheese. And so now I just don't feel as inclined to eat a whole bag of string cheese, which is something that I used to do. I used to never keep string cheese in my house because I would eat the whole bag. I would, in one day. Probably not in one sitting, but in one day I would, for sure. But now I don't feel that way anymore, and I think it's because you're allowed to have that highly palatable food. But if I have like the sugar-free Reese's, I can't have those around me. I will eat all of those. So that's kind of how my binge eating disorder looks now. It's definitely not as prevalent. It's still there though. So I'm not as likely to go to Taco Bell and order 15 things off the menu and eat it all. But there will be times where I will eat more than I should of something, but it doesn't happen as often. I just feel like I have it more under control, but I know that's not helpful to you guys because, I mean, obviously you're not going to be like, well, let me just have a baby so that I can stop binge eating. I don't recommend that as a treatment for it. I'm just sharing my experience. I hope you found this video helpful. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe so that you can see more from me in the future. Thanks, guys.